Hello, welcome back to the series Why the Guitar is the Best Instrument in the World. Now, in the first couple of lessons that we went over was just to get you to begin to establish a relationship with your guitar. And I'm going to stress this part. It's now your guitar. It's no longer a guitar or the guitar. But now this is your guitar, just like your friend. And as though you're pointing out somebody else in everyday life and you say, yeah, that's a person or a man or a woman. But then once you become to know this person, you say, yeah, that's my friend. And hopefully this is the same with your guitar now, that you're starting to say, this is my guitar. Okay? And in the first video, I stated how important it is to be able to look at things as though it's for the first time, even if it's something you see every day. But being able to look at something as though it's for the first time really helps build your creativity and maintain a level of creativity by always being fresh, having a fresh look to things. Okay, so we already went over the guitar and looking at it as though we're looking at it from the first time in the first lesson. But in this lesson, we're going to talk about your hands and how to start looking at your hands as though you're looking at them for the first time. So your left hand, as we've been starting to get your left hand to feel the guitar and know certain points and spots to touch on the guitar to make it sound really good, it's time to introduce you to your left hand as the slave. This is the hand that does all the work, okay? And in the second lesson, I showed you some techniques, 3 techniques that are really special and important to use. And when thinking of your hand as the slave or an employee, now you can start to see how, for instance, it does some extra work. Like when the master hand, the right hand, and the left hand coordinate together to make just those first few notes that we looked at in the first lesson at the specific frets. And then in the second lesson was how to do without the support of the master, that you're doing some extra work, or the slide. It's harder to hear it when it's slow, but yeah. So without the use of the master being around telling it sort of what to do, it's doing extra work like a good employee or a good slave. It's always going to keep busy. It's always going to be doing something. And that way, anytime the master shows up, he's looking busy, all right? And this is very important, okay? So we did already a little bit of work with this hand, the slave hand. But today's lesson, I want to start working on the master and establishing your master, making him a master, and being strong at it, being able to make sure that it's putting its slave to work, okay? So, the cooperating together, I'm going to begin by going through some of these different exercises you can use to help make your right hand a master hand, all right? And I'm going to show you a way for the left hand, the slave hand, to actually relax and rest properly. And this is called muted. In the actual guitar technique is called to mute the strings. And all I'm doing, and be very careful when you try this at home, that all I'm doing is touching the strings. I'm basically blocking all the strings from being able to vibrate, and I get like a nothing sound. I get a click sound. Now, if you're not doing it properly and you're actually pressing down on the strings a little bit, you'll get some ringing sound. All right? We're trying to avoid that, just a nothing sound. Being able to go down your strings and get a clicking noise. And for today, you could try this on each individual string, each one of these things, but I just want to get your hand, your arm and hand, your master side to be really strong and relax and not work so tight, all right? So with using the space that you have of all the strings, mute the strings, so just touch, lay your hand on top, all right? And make sure that you're only getting the sound. And now we'll look through each one of these. So the first one is to be able to play seconds on, if you have a clock, clock with the hands, and especially the second hand, and you can follow it, it's good just to keep your eye on the second hand and being able to hit the strings on each second. So I'll give you an example. Alright? And you want to be able just to be as reliable that you're going to hit the second hand as the second hand on the clock has to be reliable for you in order to keep the proper time, right? So this is very important that you just get used to this. And notice that my hand's coming up to be able to come back down again, okay? I'm just down, 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 all right? And I recommend that you pause for a moment and continue doing this just until you get really comfortable and that you feel a sense of rhythm, all right? Now, just to explain what rhythm is simply a pattern that gets repeated. It's a pattern. That's what a rhythm is. So in this case, you're just doing a second hand, a second clock pattern, okay? Now this next one, the second type of exercise to be trying to work on is the heartbeat. So boom, 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 yeah? And I'll establish it that you can play with me for a bit, and then I recommend that you pause and continue trying to hold this down on your own, all right? So, okay, just like a heartbeat. And now you're coming up, you're strumming on the up. And a lot of times people have this strangeness of motion, of feel when you're bringing your hand up, or what finger to use. If you're using a pick, all right, I'll pretend that I'm holding a pick and just, there is a little bit of like a movement in the wrist that you need to be, you know, you'll find your spot, the way of doing it. What's most important is that you're going down and up and trying to mimic the exact same sound. So you get like this. And here, if you notice, I'm holding my hand up longer than it is that I go down with. It's down, up, down, up. There's a bit of a pause there, all right? Just like a heartbeat. And try to do this with me for a bit. Pause and continue doing on your own, all right? Now for the third one, the down, up, down, all right? This actually gets further on, we will look far deeper into this one. This is a very important rhythm. But for now, just keeping things simple, just coming down, up, down, and then pausing. Instead of here, when the heartbeat, we're going down, up, and a slight pause. Now we're going to be going down, pause a bit, down, up, down. All right, here it is, the third one. Trying to get used to doing that with me. And again, pause and continue doing it on your own. Okay? This is just getting used to coming down, up, and going back down again in an even way. Down, up, down, down, up, down. Okay?